Greetings, gacha fanatics, gacha haters, and people who know about gacha games unwillingly and have mixed feelings about the whole concept. It's a whaley dolphin world out there, and together we're going to dive right in. Fishin, your survival guide to gacha jank and gacha brilliance. I am not Ivy Fox, who is not presently recovering from surgery. Nevertheless, she is recording episodes of the podcast, which are coming out sort of at the beginning and the end of Unceasing Summer Fun, and I'm doing the ones in the middle. That's sort of how it worked out, but I'm doing one Gone Fishing and one Great Gacha World Tour, and she's doing one Great Gacha World Tour and one Gone Fishing, and that's what we're doing. Nevertheless, you can support the show at Ivy Fox Art on co-host. Joining you instead is Ash. That's me. You can find me at Ko-Fi at Asherlark. I run the show's social media. It's at soul-mates-podcast.tumblr.com. And our theme is by Sueños Electronicos, who you can find on Bandcamp, and our cover art is by Rygarden, who you can find on Instagram. And today, well, actually, no, that's not that part of the... And this... On this mini-series, we're taking a turn away from visual analysis of gacha games to instead focus on the experience of playing a gacha game. In service of this, each week, or rather, just this week, I'm still reading the copy from last summer, you understand, I am picking up a new gacha game and recording for you a daily log of my observations from good to bad to ugly. This week's game is Disney, not Disney's, Disney... Twisted-Wonderland, which is described on the App Store as... I was trying to search it up surreptitiously while I was speaking, but I couldn't focus. Characters inspired by Disney villains weave wicked schoolyard schemes in this magical adventure featuring rhythm games and RPG-style battles. Perhaps there's more to... villains than meets the eye. Enjoy simple turn-based battles and rhythm games. That's sort of a summary of what they've got going on there. Now, you might know some things about this game because you already listened to the Great Gacha World Tour, which at this point has already come out, but for me, hasn't come out yet, and I haven't listened to it, and so I don't know what Ivy and Harry are talking about. Ivy considered having Uma Musume be the game that I played, because I've been looking forward to playing it. But there's not great images of the girls from Uma Musume, apparently, and also, she was like, I don't want to make you play Uma Musume. We talked about this while I was visiting, and, I have been playing Uma Musume on my own time, because she said we weren't going to do it for the podcast, and I think it's great. She did not enjoy the gameplay of Uma Musume, but people on the internet love it, and so do I. That's not the game we're playing, though. We're playing a game which is, dare I say, not as good. Has apparently been around for 3.5 years, that's new to me. I just opened the game and they were like, it's our 3.5 anniversary celebration, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? How have you been around for 3.5 years? And also Harry is our local yaoi expert. You've already heard all of this. So I played a bit today. I finished my day with a 10 pull. I started my day by starting, Disney Twisted-Wonderland. I can't say Disney's Twisted-Wonderland, even though I really want to. Disney Twisted-Wonderland. And here's the deal. I'll go down my notes. First of all, the voice acting for this game is in Japanese, which you know because you've listened to the episode before this and heard the Japanese voiceover. However, why the fuck is it in Japanese? It's Disney. Next. I had to decide which of these twinks I liked the most. And I looked at all of them. And here's my assessment. All of the Alice in Wonderland ones look like a boy band, which is not a good thing. I am a furry, so I do like the Lion King ones. And I do like Ursula the most out of the 7, the 7, what are they called? The Great 7, which is the Red Queen, Scar from the Lion King, Ursula, Jafar from Aladdin, the Queen from Snow White, Hades from Hercules, and Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. That's the Great 7. I like Ursula the most out of those because I'm gay, and Ursula is a classic, Disney gay villain. Not that all of them aren't, but like Ursula is a classic to me. And the Ursula boys are nice. They're kind of styling. I like their whole aesthetic. I didn't even really look at the Aladdin boys because Orientalism.png. One of the Snow White boys I found to be ugly as hell, and then the other 2 were kind of hot. Did not like what was going on with the Fire boys at all. One of them is like super emo, and then the other one is a tiny robot boy, and I'm like, okay, not for me. And then the Sleeping Beauty ones, the Maleficent ones, they have a military atmosphere, which is bad, but there is a genderqueer one, or one that looks super sort of, I was gonna say super fruity, but they're all gay. A genderqueer looking one, and I was like, that's kind of hot. Also, I looked at all of the art, and it was not good. I found out that this is not specific. I didn't look at all of the art, but looking at the key art for all the boys, I was like, wow, why does it look bad? I found out that 2 of the Ursula boys are twins, and immediately was like, never mind, not going there. The main Heart Sky, Riddle, I like him a little bit. The long-haired lion boy and the short lion boy, but not the one who's named Wolf or something. They're hot. But I went with the genderqueer one because I'm irrepressible. I like the energy of like the Ursula boys run a cafe for info gathering. But I can't with twins. It's not good. Then my notes are very sparse about the actual plot of the game. But the battle chibis of the boys are instinctually unpleasing to me. I'm not particularly fond of them. You get thrust into... Here's some things about the plot of Disney Twisted-Wonderland. You get thrust into this situation with, going to a magic school and all of this stuff, by an ugly-ass cat, and you don't have any magic, and you're from another world, which I presume is Earth, as opposed to Disney World. No pun intended. But the cat wants to go to the school where all the boys go to school to learn magic. And you're continually accused throughout this prologue of, like, you need to get control of that cat that's your familiar. They call him a tanuki in the Japanese, but the translation just calls him a weasel. And also he's a cat. And this is just sort of, this is great. The first, 20 minutes of the game are just you getting berated by random NPCs for shit that you didn't do, which is super cool. I say you as though you have, like, a personality. Mostly your personality is that you, are not even a plot device. I do like the headmaster, Crowley, or Crowley, possibly. He's got, like, a bird mask and black feathers all over him. But because he has a mask over his eyes, it's only, like, little glowing dots for his eyes that emote, which is pretty cute. I wasn't looking farther in my notes. The world of this world is not called Disney World. It's just called Twisted-Wonderland, which is fucked. And then they were like, do a twist tune, and I was like, what the fuck is a twist tune? That's the rhythm game section. I didn't look at the App Store description for this game before I started it, so I didn't know that it was a rhythm game, and I was like, oh, okay, this is great. And the answer for what the fuck a twist tune is was, it's buggy and overheating my phone. I was playing through this whole section today while doing... They have the thing which I do like, which is that you can play through the tutorial/prologue while the rest of the game is downloading, which I appreciate. But I think having the download going while I was trying to play was part of why my phone was overheating. Oh yeah, and then you get moved into a dorm to stay the night, and it's full of ghosts, which I was like, they look like Casper the Friendly Ghosts, but I'm not sure whether or not that's a Disney IP. I only know Casper the Friendly Ghost from reading a bunch of comics as a kid. I'm not familiar, like, with the larger pop culture of Casper the Friendly Ghost, so I don't know. But, you know, big doughy ghosts. One of the things I noticed about the rhythm game was that, and maybe this is just true for the track that I was doing, but they really want me to, like, do my inputs too fast. They want me to do it, like, before the beat, which is a problem that I have sometimes in rhythm games, but like, a problem that I have. But this one was clearly, like, a chart problem, because me hitting them, like, right in the middle of the circle, just did not match up with the music at all. I was like, okay. The battle system is almost the same as Fate Grand Order, so that's a really good sign for the rest of the God Vision. I've also found, like, nothing charming so far. There's 3 elements which go in a rock, paper, scissors circle, and then there's a neutral element which is not affected by anything. And you just have to, like, you have 5 options each turn, and you pick 2 attacks to do, and then that's what you do, and you can see one of the attacks the enemy is gonna do. So they don't explain it very well. But it's like, it's the same interface as Fate. Anyway, I'm not feeling it. And then I only had time to complete most of the prologue. I wanted to get it all, but I couldn't quite do it. So I did my first summon. I did it before the fight. It's the tutorial summon, but it's my 10 pull for the day. So what we got, and I'll give you some. Oh, there's names of the guys that I didn't internalize. I'll just give you some. I have a little bit of commentary on these, but I just need you to sort of, like, take in and process the names of the boys. PE uniform Deuce Spade, SR, Labwear Jack Howell. Jack Howell is the wolf boy I didn't like, but the Labwear one is cute, I admit. PE uniform Epel Felmier, who I also find cute. That's one of the Snow White boys, who's, like, kind of effeminate and small. PE uniform Cater Diamond, school uniform Ruggy Bucci. I don't know what's going on there. The SSR I got from the tutorial poll was Dorm Uniform Tray Clover. And when I finished the poll, they gave me, like, the option to redo it until I got something I wanted. But I was like, that's gonna take forever. And it feels, you know... I mean, it's preventing people from just resetting, and, like, they're gonna reset anyway if they're committed. But it feels dishonest for me to do it, because I don't reset like that. So I just went for it. But I just want to say, I don't like him. PE uniform Vilshanheit. PE uniform Idia Shroud. That's the emo Hades boy. SR Labware. SR is just the rarity. Sebek Zigvolt. Got it in one. And then PE uniform, Ruggy Bucci. I got 2 of him. Although they're different, I got school uniform and PE uniform. I take issue with this. I take issue with many things. I take issue with when there's a rating system that isn't, like, honest with you about what the rarities of the guys are, because the lowest rarity is R, which stands for rare. But if there's no common, then that doesn't mean anything. If the lowest rarity is R, and then you go up to SR, super rare, and then SSR, super rare, then, like, what? So all the PE uniforms and the school uniforms are just R. I don't know if it's just a tutorial poll that didn't have, like, any interesting cards on it, but it's all PE uniform, school uniform, lab wear, and then the SSR is the dorm uniform, which is what you see them in the full art, in the key art that you see at the beginning. So, anyway, that's my first day with Disney Twisted-Wonderland. We'll see if it gets any better. I'm currently having a great time, by which I mean I don't know how I feel about it. Every day of my life is a test of my attraction to men, fictional or real. So, I'll see you for day 2.
Twisted-Wonderland.
Hello. We're back. We've gone fishing. Day 2, Disney Twisted-Wonderland. Here's what's up. The Great 7, we'll jump right into it. The Great 7, we meet this guy, who's, one of the, Queen of Hearts guys, and he starts telling us, I'm a little charmed by this, he starts telling us sort of expository histories of the Disney villains, in the Great 7, that make the villains out to be, like, really nice guys, or at the very least sort of virtuous. Like, the Queen of Hearts brought order to the kingdom by enforcing her many rules, and, like, Scar, the King of Beasts, allowed the hyenas into the kingdom of lions because it's preventing prejudice. I want to know whether or not it's an alternate history that they're living in, where all the villains won, or whether or not I don't know. Like, what is the situation? I really would like to know. I'm invested, even though I don't want to be, in the Disney Twisted-Wonderland lore, but they refuse to give it to me. Except that they're obsessed with giving it to me, it's unclear. Here's what I like, this is sarcastic, how completely unlikable everyone is. Grim, who's the ugly cat, I don't remember if I said his name last time, I think I was too focused on calling him the ugly cat. Grim is unlikable, and is just sort of a burden that you're saddled with and told to take care of, but you have no agency, so you can't do anything. This guy who starts telling us about the villains is like, oh, I'm so nice and charming, and then he's starts making fun of you for being hired as a janitor, and is like, you know, you thought I was nice, lol, Lamau. You meet Deuce Spade, whose name I will remember. The other guy's Ace. I don't remember his last name. But I'll remember Deuce Spade. And he, well, there's a fight in the courtyard by the statues of the Great Seven, and Grimm ends up lighting the statue of the Queen of Hearts on fire and scorching it, and then the headmaster finds out, and it's like, okay, you and also Ace, since you are fighting, have to go clean 100 windows, and it's like, oh, well, but then we go clean 100 windows, and we wait for Ace to show up, and he doesn't show up, and then we go to his dorm to try to find him, and we run into Deuce Spade, and we're like, catch that guy, he's running away from his responsibilities, and Deuce drops a cauldron on him, and the animation that they do during the live 2D visual novel segments, they have a cauldron sprite, and they drop it on his head, and it's completely uncharming. I do like Deuce, though. He's kind of stupid. He's like, I need to think of something heavy. What's heavy? A cauldron. And another cauldron. He's a little bit, I'm charmed by his stupidity. I still hate mascot characters. Grimm is like evil Momo from Infinity Nikki / just Nikki in general, who you'll hear about soon. Grimm is like evil Momo. It sucks so bad. He's just sort of like constantly, I hate mascot characters. You, the player character, are constantly being blamed for shit that Grimm does for no reason. And then, there's a fight segment, but, before you can do the fight segment, you need to train up your cards, which means it's time to go to school. You know what else isn't explained very well? The battle system isn't explained very well. But you know what else isn't explained very well? School. Going to school. There's a tooltip that's like, well, here's what history lessons do, here's what flying lessons do, here's what alchemy lessons do, and here's what special lessons do. And I'm like, okay. And then I actually get in there, and I get into a history lesson, and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Wait, do I have to click on the guy that I want to answer the question? I have seven questions to answer? What are the stars that they're getting? What are the boxes? What does this mean? Does my input have any effect on this at all? If I tap a guy, does that guy answer? Or does it not affect anything? And I'm still unclear on this. I think it's just an auto-leveling mechanic, and I don't think my choices matter, but it's unclear to me. So that's going to school. You have to fight some enemies, but every enemy is ghosts. You have to do 2 rhythm sections with ghosts. And then, part of the dropping a cauldron on the guy thing, was, I think, once we catch Ace, I think it's Grimm that goes up onto a chandelier, and then Ace has to go catch him, or Deuce is trying to catch him, and Deuce tries to throw him up there to get him, and they end up knocking down this chandelier, and then you're in sort of an Oron High School host club situation where you've knocked over a very expensive item, and you're about to get expelled from the school, unless you go and collect the Mage Stone that powers it from the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs mine. Except the 7 dwarves died? Alternate history, again, I really want to know. And there's ghosts in there, and you have to do another fight sequence where you fight ghosts, and it's so tiring. In the lessons, when you finish a lesson, there's a chance that your study partner, who is the first person you put into your roster, will do a chat with you. So I had a chat with Trey, who's the guy I got last time, the SSR that I got that I didn't like. And it was so boring. He was just like, let me give you some history about Alice in Wonderland, the Disney movie. And it's like, okay, it's not, can you tell me anything about yourself? Or no? The answer was no. I was trying to find the menu to upgrade my cards, and I found, instead of that, I found the furniture placing minigame, which is complete with long expository cutscenes. Instead of being able to upgrade my cards, I did a flash forward in time to, I guess, after the prologue is finished, and we're all living in the dorm, and we find a spare room, and are like, let's refurbish a room for guests. And that's the furniture placing minigame. So I did a little bit of that. That was neat. Oh, and then I found the card menu. And I found out that, oh my god, there's like 6 ways to upgrade these cards. You upgrade their levels, you can upgrade the levels of their spells, you can unlock their vignettes, which are their personal story episodes, you can upgrade their, like, friendship level with you. There's a lot. But in order to get their trained art, you know, the advanced art that they always have in these games, the switch between 2 arts, this process is called groovification. You have to make them groovy. It's a rhythm game, sort of. It's a rhythm game in its fake grand order. Anyway, back to the dwarf mine. There's also, you have to run from a big fucked up dwarf thing with a black ooze potion head, which is kind of cool. I wrote down weird in a scary, but not in a scary way, just bad. But I kind of go back on that. It's like a little bit cool. It does look kind of ugly, but whatever. When all of these boys who are mean to you break being mean to you character, they are just kind of dorks, and that's a little bit charming. So I had a little bit of I'm bonding with Deuce Spade, and a little bit with Ace, but he's kind of boring. I don't remember why. I wrote down, there's no freaking way I'll join your hands, but I don't remember what the context for that was. And then I finished the prologue, and then we did the animated intro. I just wrote, me and all my evil boyfriends I actually hate it here. I wrote a couple things while I was watching the animated intro, just sort of thinking about the overall aesthetic of this game. The extremely tempered edgelordiness of this game is killing me. Like, they can't commit to it being actually dark. It's just kind of like fake dark. I mean, it's Disney villains. It's like, and by dark, I mean, if you don't come to my Queen of Hearts party, then you're, off with your head. It's just, you know, nothing actually fucked up is happening. Everyone is just mean. Everyone is just mean and like a weird child. I watched the first vignette for Trey. He continues to be criminally boring. Again, this vignette is just like, you know, oh, he bakes, and here's all his dorm mates interacting with him while they're preparing the unbirthday party from Alice in Wonderland, and he's like, I'll make a cherry pie cake. It's like, okay, dude. That's all that I have for this one. Daily 10 poll. I got PE uniform Riddle Rose Hearts. SR Ceremonial Robes Rook Hunt, which I admit is a really cool name. I think he's the guy that I think is ugly, though. School uniform Vil Shaneheit. School uniform Jamil Viper. He is kind of hot. Athletic gear Ortho Shroud. I just wrote, help me! He's such a... he's very small. He's a very small robot boy, and it's, like, really weird. I don't like it. PE uniform Trey Clover, save me. I don't like him. School uniform Floyd Leach. School uniform Deuce Spade, and school uniform Silver. No SSRs today again, but such is all I have to say. We're getting there. I have one boy that I like. I haven't met the boy that I actually picked at the beginning of the game. I don't know what picking him at the beginning of the game has done, except for put him on my home screen, which is great, but I haven't met him. I think we're just going to be stuck in Alice in Wonderland land for a little bit, based on the fact that book 1 is called The Rose Red Tyrant. So, minimum. Next time, more story. I haven't unlocked really any new mechanics after finishing the prologue, so it's just gonna be more story. Hopefully it'll be better. One hopes. More Deuce Spade. Okay. See you tomorrow, day 3.
毎日少しずつでも努力することが大事だよな。塵も積もればって言うだろ。
Hello! Welcome back. For day 3 of Disney Twisted-Wonderland. I found out today that there's as there often is in these, gacha games, and which I often like to do if I'm just starting a gacha game, they have a jumpstart missions thing. It's called jumpstart missions, but just a series of missions that you're supposed to complete that they give you a lot of free stuff for doing if you're a new player. And so that's my goal, is I would like to complete all the jumpstart missions. I don't know if this will happen, given we're on day 3 already out of 6, and I've only just discovered them. But I did several, and I appreciate that these... It's also true of the missions in general, that they have, like, go here buttons that will lead you to the correct menu to do the thing. I hate navigating through menus for things that I don't know where to find. I'll figure it out eventually on my own, but, so I appreciate that when the jumpstart missions were like, do an alchemy lesson, I was like, I'm just gonna press the button. And I did. And then I did an alchemy lesson, which apparently is... It ups the buddy level between two characters, which is different from friendship level, which is between the character and you, presumably. But also these aren't just for characters, they're for specific cards. But only 4 or 5 characters are available to do alchemy lessons with each day, and then each of them only has buddy levels with certain other characters. And so you need to have the right combination of cards, and ultimately this isn't a problem probably if you've been playing this game for a while, but just starting out, it's like, oh, do I have anything that I can do? I have 2 things that I can do in these daily lessons that change up every day, and it's like, okay. They give you materials that are supposed to help upgrade your spells, but not very many. And also that seems unrelated to the buddy level, so I don't know what's going on. Okay. For chapter 1, or book 1, as they call it, we open with the main character having a dream, which is a cutscene, which is not just a straight up and down scene from Disney's Alice in Wonderland, the movie, but is a recreation of that scene, just in... they just sort of have flat images moving across the screen as opposed to just straight up cutting a scene out of the film. But it is the exact same scene, exact same dialogue, exact same art. It's just the painting the roses scene from Alice in Wonderland. It's like, okay. It also opens once you've had this weird dream, which is maybe plot relevant, who knows. Ace comes in and is like, hey, can I crash here? I have the magic collar on me that the riddle the house warden gives people that stops them from using magic, and also I got kicked out. And most of the dorm that you're living in is shit. And there's only really one room that's been cleaned up, and both you and Grim sleep there. And so there is only one bed, but it's instantly denied when you tell him to go sleep on the couch, which I admit is really funny. We are also introduced to Cater Diamond, who's the 4 of diamonds. Cater is supposed to be Quatra. And I keep getting distracted when I read his dialogue, because I can hearing the Japanese dialogue, because I can tell some of the translation choices that they're making are different in English significantly. And he sounds honestly like more charming in Japanese. He uses some English expressions that are cute, but they just sort of like they replace a lot of that with just sort of random text speak, which is also pretty funny. I think there's one point where he's like, I think he literally says like and subscribe, which I find kind of funny. But I'm distracted. And then, before I could go play more story, I found out that there's a whole menu that I didn't know about, where you can play harder versions of all of the rhythm games. And so then I got distracted by that for the rest of the day. It's, well, I didn't actually, hold on. Mostly I got distracted by that for the rest of the day. I also said, thank God, one redeeming quality about this game. I'm kind of not having a good time, it's fine. But I did watch a little bit more story. I wrote down, I do kind of like Riddle despite the boy bandiness. He's a straight-laced, short asshole, which is true. They all dress like they're in a boy band. It freaks me out and it's weird. But I do like, sort of, he's kind of a short king. I kind of appreciate it. The rhythm sections are really short. They're never more than like a minute long, at most. And that's, including the cutscenes that are built in, which the cutscenes that are built into the rhythm game sections, there's a button to skip them, but they're like timed out to the music, and so if the uninterrupted track includes all of those sections, and if you skip through them, you get a really awkward cut in the music, which is fine because the music isn't that interesting. But it is a little bit like, it's clever, but also I really wish that you would just be able to auto-skip cutscenes when I'm, like, grinding out levels and I've already seen them before. And so the fact that they're tied to the music is a good reason why they can't be auto-skipped, but also makes it so you can't auto-skip them. No. They're also not hard. The easy versions that you have to do for the main story are totally fine. The medium versions, I took, like, 2 tries to full combo any of them, and then the hard versions, they actually don't ask you to full combo them. You get no reward for doing so, which is kind of bullshit, but I appreciate not having to do the extra work. I don't appreciate it as much as I think it's bullshit, and there's no acknowledgement of any full combos on any screen. It only cares about what rank you get. As long as you get SS rank, which you can get even if you fuck up a lot, as long as you get SS rank, it's totally fine. But they are difficult. I would, they're not that difficult, but they're just like a little bit finicky. I've also found that whenever it asks you to do, 2, like, tap, 2 at the same time, then if you, like, don't get it right, the inputs kind of freeze for a bit, and then you miss a bunch of notes, and it's like, It's, there's no difference between a perfect combo and a great combo, which is what they call a full combo. Good counts as a miss counts as a miss, great doesn't, perfect doesn't. But if you get, perfects and greats, that's a great combo. But even if you get all perfects, that's also a great combo, counted as a great combo. Which, it's not a real rhythm game, so, like, but I wish it was, because it's, like, the one thing that I care about. There's missions to go along with every one of them, and the missions are, like, get a certain amount of score, get an SS rank, and to get a great combo on easy, and then on medium, and then for hard, it's just get a certain amount of score and get an SS rank. And then there's 2 more missions, one of which is play this at any difficulty 5 times, and the other one is play this at any difficulty 10 times. I didn't go for those, because that's annoying. I mean, they're okay at, like, making me feel like if I need to try and get a full combo and repeat the song, then it's not totally a wasted effort. And so I'm usually not giving up on or restarting. There's no quick restart either, which is annoying. Both when you finish the song and, like, in the middle of it, there's no quick restart, there's only quit out. But I'm usually not giving up on attempts, because I'm like, at least it counts towards this. But also, I didn't get a single play 10 times. I got a couple of play 5 times, but yeah. It took less than an hour to do all of that, so I didn't get fully distracted. I also just figured out that you can get cards for the teachers in staff, which is kind of intriguing, because sometimes older men are better. Then I did a bunch of lessons. Basically all of the chats, like the one I had with Trey, seemed to be just, like, 5-second snippets of Disney lore, which is very odd. It's not even the interesting stuff that I want to know about, like, how specifically this world, parenthetical, Twisted-Wonderland works. It's, like, it's just stuff from movies. I also really want to know what Lilia's deal is. He's the genderqueer one that I picked at the start. I want to know what his deal is, because I was doing a bunch of lessons with him, and he keeps saying things like, it's just like yesterday to me. And he has, like, you know, lesson, or not lesson, he has, like, homepage lines that are like, have you seen Silver in his ceremonial robes? He used to be so small. And it's like, if you have a secretly 1,000 years old thing going on, you have to tell me, or it's entrapment. Not feeling great about it. But the Daily Temple is, I wrote it down. School uniform, Epel. I accidentally skipped the animation this time, and when you look at the cards after you pull them, they don't give you full names, they just give you first names, which is fine, but it does mean my notes are inconsistent, and that's frustrating. School uniform Jack, I know that one's Jack Howell. SR Labware Vil Shane something. Because you're hearing these not spaced days apart, they sound like totally like I've forgotten something I said 5 minutes ago. But like, SR Labware Kaleem, SR Labware Rook, that's Rook Hunt. I know that because it's a good name. SR Labware Deuce, that's Deuce Spade. And the school uniform Leona. Again, I didn't really have much to remark upon here. I like some of these guys. I don't like some of these guys. I don't find any of the art that interesting. And there's also, like, I was thinking that maybe it was just because I was pulling on the tutorial banner, but I haven't seen, like, a single piece of interesting card art. If all of the interesting card art is limited to SSRs, I'm gonna be pissed off. If it's literally just, like, school uniform, lab wear, PE uniform, and then, ceremonial robes, and that's all you get for R and SR, I'm gonna be... This game has been around for 3.5 years. Help! Anyway, such is all I have to say for today. See you tomorrow.
今日は何でもない日のパーティーはできないね。誕生日は1年に1度きりだ。ケーキを食べて、プレゼントをもらって、きちんと楽しまなければならないよ。
Why, hello there. They call me Johnny Two Takes. It's day 4 of Disney Twisted-Wonderland. Not Disney's, it's Disney. It's really hard. On my home screen on my phone, it just says Disney TW. And that's cool, and I like that. I had a shorter session today of, like, actual stuff that I did, because I had to do some grinding. And here's what you don't want. And this is, maybe I'm hating too much on Disney Twisted-Wonderland, but, like, you can try it yourself and tell me whether or not I'm wrong. I don't think you want people within the first, like, just getting to the first story segment of your game, really. And, like, let me be clear, this is a qualm I also have with Arknights. So, like, you know, but getting to the first story section of your game, really, I don't think you really want people to be stuck in the mines, auto-leveling, grinding materials. Like, right then. Right in that moment. So that's not great. I had to get all my guys up to level 5, and that took more time than I wanted it to take, and that's not a good sign. Anyway, you have to fight Cater Diamond, and it's, they have multiple kinds of fights, and I kind of think it's dumb. But some fights are endurance fights, where all you have to do is survive for 5 turns. Some fights, you have to do more damage to the other party than they do to you for 5 turns. You don't actually have to beat them, though the fight will end if they get to HP 0. You just have to do more damage than them, and then you win. There's a little bar that shows how much damage you're doing comparably to each other. And then there's infinite turn fights where you do in fact have to beat them. But 5 turn fights are just deal more damage. And 5 turn endurance fights are survive for 5 turns. This is a lot, and I don't think it's really necessary. But you have to do a 5 turn survival fight against Cater Diamond. It's kind of bullshit, because, like, I mean, there's never any good reason to do a rhythm game, for sure. But if you're gonna do a fight, I don't think there's any good reason to do this fight, because in the story, they're like, and then you got kicked out. And it's like, did we actually do that fight or not? And then, after the end of every turn of that fight, he heals to full. So it's quite literally just survival, which is fine. But, like, it didn't even affect the story, and you have to do the whole fight, and he heals every turn. And it's like, come on. Anyway, I've figured out some of the professors, what they're from. The alchemy professor is Gay Man Cruella. The flying lesson guy is Gaston. He talks about eating 4 dozen eggs. I mean, he doesn't talk about eating 4 dozen eggs, but he talks about his diet of eggs. You know, like, from when I was a boy, I ate 4 dozen eggs every morning to help me get large. And now that I'm grown, I eat 5 dozen eggs, and I'm roughly the size of a barge. I don't remember what meme has caused me to remember this forever. It was something. Anyway, the whole story of this game seems to be Grimm does something stupid, and then everybody has to go corral him, which is so great. I love mascot characters. I mentioned this earlier, but I'm even more interested in the history of magic lore. They give me little snippets of the lessons of history of magic, and I'm like, I want to know what your deal is. This is an all-boys school, so that makes it a canonically homosexual game. So that's cool. I wrote down in my notes, do you get special encounters with the guy you chose at the beginning, or am I just lucky? Certainly not. I think they're just building up, because if I'm reading it right, since, God, I don't even want to, trying to remember the names of the houses, and I remember too many of them. Heartslabule, Savannah Claw, Octinel? Or Octivel? And then I lose it. Yeah, and then I lose it. And then, Diasomnia is the last one. Diasomnia is the one that Lilia is in, my boy. But, I think, if I'm reading this right, because Heartslabule is first in the books, then maybe it just goes in the order that it's in all the menus, and then next will be Savannah Claw, and then next will be Octinel, or Octavel, unclear. Maybe. And in that case, the amount of, like, weird, mysterious hype around the Sleeping Beauty boys is just because they're the last ones in the story. But they really give me some good food in terms of I just want to see and hang out with Lilia, even though I'm not sure about the 1,000-year-old demon thing. They do explicitly mention, like, you know, oh, you think he looks young? Yeah, we do get child prodigies, but he's a junior. And it's like, okay. But he's cute. I like him. They do a whole expository segment where they talk about all of the houses, which is fine. There's random bits where I think it's just when Riddle shows up to be a dick to other students. They show a brief little animation of some dark ooze dripping onto the ground, and it's like, cool, the dark ooze, sure. Don't know what that's about. Deuce has a really good scene where we have to bake an apology tart for Riddle for eating. This is the reason that Ace got kicked out, for eating a slice of chestnut tart from the fridge. So we're baking an apology chestnut tart. And you and Deuce go out. Oh, I never mentioned, the default name for the player character is YU, which is really funny. But you and Deuce go out to go to the school store, which is run by, I'm sure that's a reference to a Disney movie, but I don't know which one, guy. Guys, I don't know what Disney movie they're from. I don't know if there is a reference for the headmaster. I don't know what reference the shopkeeper is, and I don't know what the History of Magic guy's deal is, but he has a cat. But he, again, this is sort of a translation thing. He's constantly speaking English, and they just translate it as like he's saying things in French or whatever, which is fine. This is usually what they do, I find, when people are speaking English randomly in the middle of sentences in Japanese, is in English localization they'll translate it to be they're speaking French. Anyway, we go to the store, we get some eggs and stuff, and then we're walking back, and some delinquents that are from earlier in the chapter but didn't matter come and are like, you know, they run into us and all the eggs get cracked. And then the thing which is said a lot earlier in the story that I did not realize what it meant or process it, in which you say, like, Deuce, sometimes you talk like a punk. And I don't know if this is a thing which, again, translates better in Japanese, but I was like, no, he doesn't. But now we see him, like, really get angry and get pissed off, and he really starts acting like a delinquent. But he keeps saying shit like, apologize to the chickens, which is pretty funny. And then after you do this fight, he, like, comes clean to you, and he's like, I'm trying to become an honor student. But to be honest, I have this written down because I really like this quote. When I was in middle school, I was pretty wild. And I know middle school has a different connotation in, you know, not America. However, fucking hilarious sentence. When I was in middle school, I was pretty wild. And then you have to tell him, he's like, I hope those chicks can rest in peace. And then you have to tell him that eggs you buy from the grocery store don't hatch into chickens. And then he gets upset about this for the rest of the fucking story. And that's really funny. It's a really good bit. He just completely, like, freaks out. And he's like, my whole life, I thought that chickens came from the eggs. And it's like, yeah, man. Anyway, what's annoying about the twist tunes, the rhythm game segments, is that half of them use the exact same music. There's a music that they use for ghosts, and you do that one twice. There's a music that you use for baking a chestnut tart, and then you have to go collect chestnuts, come back, make the tart, that's number one, go to the store, come back, finish making the tart. It's the same music. And it's like, Jesus Christ. I'm not even sure. Sometimes the charts are basically the same too. Usually I think they try to switch it up a little bit. But it's like, come on. Oh, there's another cutscene which is just a scene from Alice in Wonderland, the movie, and it was really laggy. Listen, my phone isn't great or new, and so I'm not going to judge games too hard for, like, making my phone crash. I wouldn't play most gacha games on my phone if I had options, but Android emulators are garbage. I haven't found one I like, ever. Oh, and then my next note. Oh yeah, my next note is about you go back and you have your chestnut tart and it's like, okay, well, we gotta paint the roses again, and it's the exact same stage with the exact same music and the exact same chart, and I went to go do the other two difficulties on medium and hard, and it's the same chart on every difficulty. It just has a background video that is very slightly different from the last one. And it's like, what is wrong with you? Why would you make me do this twice and grade me separately for them? And then I did my daily temple. I spent a lot of my... I made more progress than I thought I would, considering I feel like I spent a lot of today just sort of doing menial tasks. But I got archetype gear, ortho shroud. This I think is the same as like school uniform, but it's just because he's a robot. SR ceremonial robes, Azul Ashen Grotto. I like this guy. It's the main Octanel guy who isn't one of the twins. School uniform Sebek. Oh my god, I still can't say it. Sebek Zigvolt. PE uniform Jack Howell. SR ceremonial robes Ace Trapola. That's his last name. PE uniform Silver, no last name. SR Labwear Trey Clover, free me. School uniform Idia Shroud, which I do admit I find kind of handsome. He's got a hoodie on. He's the emo Hades boy. He's got a hoodie on and stuff that I'm like, yeah, okay. And then school uniform Lilia Van Rouge. Yay! I like him. Still suspicious about him being a 1,000-year-old dragon or whatever, but you know. Beggars can't be choosers. 2 more days. Inshallah, we finish book 1 tomorrow. One hopes. One prays. See you tomorrow.
ネトゲだけじゃなく投稿にもログインボーナスがあれば少しはやる気が出るのに。
Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's day 5. Hey, so I am, tired. This happens. And I was trying to play Disney Twisted-Wonderland today while tired. And I was like, I wrote this down in my notes. I was like, can I finish book 1 today? Like I was saying yesterday that I hoped I would be able to do. Or am I going to fucking fall asleep? And you'll have to find out the answer over the course of the next 10-ish minutes. I don't understand the plot of this game. I don't understand because the students all idolize the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland and her sort of off with your head situation and the many rules. And it seems like the plot of the game currently is that all the rules that the House Warden Riddle enforces are the problem. And that this is bad? Maybe. But like, they're all evil? This is the game with the evil boyfriends in it. The Twisted-Wonderland, if you will. And so, like, is it good or bad to be evil in the context of Disney Twisted-Wonderland? I'm trying to figure this out. Are we evil? I don't know. Anyway, there's also... I was very excited about this, actually. There's a Cheshire Cat guy. He's not in... I don't know if he's in the game. Like, as a character you can have. 'Cause he's not from the dorm, I think. But he kind of serves cunt. And I like this. I like him. His name is Chenya. Like, yeah. And he's cute, and I like him. And he shows up to drop riddle lore, and then he leaves. And also everybody's trying to guess what dorm he's from. And Grimm goes, oh, he has animal ears. He must be from Savannah Claw. And then, like, I don't know who it is. Maybe, I don't know. Someone replies, no, other students also have animal ears that aren't in Savannah Claw. And I was like, what? The dark mirror that sorts you into what dorm you're supposed to be in from Disney Twisted-Wonderland. The dark mirror that sorts you into what dorm you're supposed to be in based on the shape of your soul. It's based on the shape of your soul. But all of the Savannah Claw boys have animal ears. What's the lore? What's the Beastman lore? And what is the deal? What's the deal? Where are the other animal ear people? I don't get it. I think the main Sleeping Beauty guy also has horns, which is cool and all. But like, what's the deal? I really want to know. What's with the furries? Everybody has to get dressed up in formal clothing so they can go to the unbirthday party, and so they change everybody into their official dorm outfits, from the key art. But they also, Grimm has a like ratty striped ribbon that he wears, and while transforming him into new clothes, they transform his ribbon to be black and white and red and have a checkerboard pattern on it, which is adorable, I'm not gonna lie. I still don't like him, but I really like giving a costume change to him, even though he's not a part of the dorm. And then in my notes, I've written, made it to chapter 21, still might pass out TBH. And then, in all caps, this guy fell asleep. I didn't make it. Although, in fairness, it wasn't because the story was boring. It was because the story gated me and made me grind. I fell asleep while I was doing auto grinding. I had the lessons set to loop until I got enough stuff. Because you need to be at, like, level 7 to do this fight. I mean, you don't need to, but they want you to be at, like, level 7 to do this fight, I think. And so I was like, I should get all my guys to level 7. I mean, not all my guys. That would be a long time. I should get a team of 5 guys up to level 7. 5 guys, burgers, and fries. And so I set it to auto. And then I was, like, gonna go do something else, and then I fell asleep. And then I still had to do more once I woke up, which is so unfair. I did some flying lessons, just because I needed to do them for a mission, and they all wear their PE uniforms for that. They wear their school uniforms for the history lessons and the PE uniforms for the flying lessons. And Lilia has a green, like, sun visor, like a plastic one that he wears with his PE uniform, and I gotta admit, I think it's really cute. And then I didn't go on. I was so busy grinding, and also it was late. And I'm recording this, like, half an hour after finishing. So you can, and it's the evening, so, like, so I just did my temple, and then we'll finish it tomorrow, because it's the last day and I have to. My temple was SR Labwear, Idia Shroud, School Uniform, Catered Diamond, SR Labwear, Epiphelmier, again, he's kind of a cutie, SR Ceremonial Robes, Jack Howell, and School Uniform, Riddle Rose Hearts. I feel like I'm only getting the same guys. Like, I'm missing some guys still that I don't have any copies of. But instead I just have, like, every Jack Howell, every Idia Shroud, every Epiphelmier. And it's like, okay, whatever. So that's the outcome of today. My apologies. I did my best, and I tried my hardest. And my hardest was not enough to surmount the fact that they needed me to grind materials in order to complete Chapter 1 of the video game. But I'll see you tomorrow for the grand finale of Disney Twisted-Wonderland, including numbers and the cake scale and a live 10 pull, and all the good stuff. All the stuff that you want. You want this. You want this. Great, we'll see you then.
おやまあ。これ以上わしに力をつけさせて大丈夫か？くふふ。そうか。ならば期待に応えねばな。
Hi. So, funny story. I'm very lucky that this whole audio file didn't break, but one of my entries for my 6-day diary, this is editing Ash, I found that it did not record properly. And so, what entry was that, one might ask? It was the very last one. So, I'm gonna do my best. The important thing is, important so that you understand sort of what I'm going through, is that I am nothing if not committed. And so I had to reopen Disney Twisted-Wonderland, in order to do another live 10 poll, other than the one that broke. So, here we are. I have done enough grinding to get another 10 pull in this game that I'm gonna be real, I did not want to play anymore. I do have my notes, we're gonna go through them, and then I'm gonna talk over how I feel about the game. Notes first. I pledged to myself in my notes, which were pretty short, that I would finish book 1, and I'm pleased to report that I did. I found out that in the EXP gaining menu, where you use items to give your cards more levels, sometimes, randomly, the EXP items you use get boosted. That's great. However, that's so fucked as a mechanic. Because, like, I don't know what the chances of this are. I don't know how much they're boosted by. If you're trying to mechanically optimize your usage of resources, and, like, I'm not accusing you of being a nerd, but you might be. And I'm kind of a stickler for having the same numbers across the board. This is personally bothering me. But I don't know how much they're boosted by, what the chances are. And so I don't know, like, what's the optimal amount of resources to use, both, like, at a time? Like, is it better to use them one at a time and then hope you get, like, an average of boosts? Or is it better to use them all at once and maybe get boosted on all of them? Right? Like, that's fucked if it works like that. And so, that's part of it. And also, how much do you spend? Because you could potentially waste resources if they get boosted. If you're spending, like, as much as you need in order to get your card to level cap, but it gets boosted, then you've wasted your boost. / wasted resources that you could have not used on that. Anyway, I think this is insane and I don't like it. Silver from Diasomnia Dorm called Lily a father? So there's definitely a 1,000 years old thing going on there. Editor's note, I looked at the wiki since this in order to grab images for the thumbnail, and it is... Lily is 700 years old. Anyway, not even gonna comment on that. The whole conflict of the... I'll explain the plot. The house warden of Heart's Labule House Riddle Rose Hearts has gone mad with power. He enforces every single one of the Queen of Hearts rules, which he has memorized by heart. Among these being when it is acceptable to drink tea. What kind of tea? You can't stay at the table for 15 minutes after you eat. More than 15 minutes after you eat. Never bring a chestnut tart to an unbirthday party, etc., etc. And everyone hates it. Everyone's like, I'm miserable, and I wish he would go away. And so Deuce and Ace decide to challenge him for the position of House Warden. But not before talking to Trey, who's his childhood friend, about why he's like that. And Trey is like, oh, his mom was really strict on him growing up. And he had a really rigid, like, educational program, and so that's why he's like that now, is he's like, this has led me to my success, etc., etc. And so then they do a whole duel thing, and, like, the whole conflict of this whole thing being about, like, the concept of rules. They keep saying the word rule. The Queen of Hearts Alice in Wonderland's ridiculous rules. The concept of rules. Not like law. Just rules. Feels so stupid. And then Riddle gets so upset that people are telling him that he's doing a bad job, that he, quote, overblots, which is when it's like in Madoka Magica when your egg gets corrupted by your evil energy. Your negative thoughts make your mage stone turn black, and then you go Evil Sans Undertale mode. And this looks like shit and gives you a bad voice changer. And then there's a dramatic child abuse montage. This is, like, kind of sad. I also kind of DGAF, which, I mean, I just think that Project Sekai does this exact plotline better. The way that they present it is alright, and, like, the voice actors are doing a lot. But I kind of just don't care. Part of it is just that, like, there are ways, I think, of writing this plotline that are more impactful, that follow basically the exact same beats, and they just didn't do that, and so I'm like, sorry about your child abuse, dude. And then everything goes okay, and we beat him, and then he gets healed, and then he's like, sorry I did all that. And Ace is like, no, fuck you. I won't accept your apology. You need to make me a tart. And then he makes, from his flashback, he always wanted to try a strawberry tart, but his mom wouldn't let him because it was too much sugar. And so he makes a strawberry tart. But then the punchline of this joke is that much earlier in the story, Trey is saying that the key to making good tarts, the secret ingredient, is oyster sauce. And then he's like, no, that's a lie, that's a prank. But because Riddle so rigidly follows the rules, he saw the secret ingredient was oyster sauce, and he was like, I guess I have to put it in, but they didn't tell me how much. And so everyone eats the strawberry tart he brought, and it's like, it's salty, and they all laugh it off. And that's the bit. But before you do that, before you can have the party with the catharsis, it turns out that once again, as has happened twice before, first you show up to Heart's Labule House in order to, apologize to Riddle, and then Cater shows up and is like, hey, we're painting the roses. And then you have to paint the roses, and you do a rhythm game chart. And then you show up for the second party with the apology tart that you made, and then Cater is like, hey, we're painting the roses. And you have to paint the roses again, and it's the exact same chart. And it's like, okay. And now, before you're allowed to do the final party, guess what you have to paint? It's the roses! Guess whether or not the chart is different, or the music. They're not! So there's that. The last thing that you do, the final thing that you do in this story, is the same chart in the same rhythm with the same music that you've already done twice with no change except a slightly different background video. And that's it. And that's the end. I'm still unclear on whether or not it's good or bad to be evil. I did a little more after that. I was like, I want to finish the Jumpstart missions. It turns out that there's three or more levels of Jumpstart missions, so I couldn't finish them all. But I did go, I went and I did the Crafter's Gauntlet, which is part of the room customization minigame. If you want to get, materials to make furniture, you have to do these fights. I had to do a bunch of grinding in order to get there. The recommended level for that is 20, but the guest characters they give you are level 10, so I was like, I'll do it with level 10 characters, and I was fine. This is because I'm very intelligent, and for no other reason. And then I tried the exam mode, which is fine. They grade you for the exams on, like, how much damage you do or how much health you have remaining, depending on the mode. And there's different exams each day, and you can play them at different difficulties. It didn't really give me any perceivable reward. And that's it. And that's all I did. And that's all the Disney Twisted-Wonderland I played until, like, right now, when I had to play a bunch of it in order to get another poll. Where's my phone that I had specific? Oh, it's over there. I'm a professional. And now we're gonna do a temp poll. The previous one I think was boring. I didn't get anything interesting. I got a bunch more SRs and stuff, which is totally normal. But I'm hoping that maybe for final 10 poll we can get an interesting one. Like an SSR, maybe? One hopes. Anyway, we'll see how much of this noise suppression cuts out, but, And then there's just silence. I stared at my phone. I worked very hard on this. You have to be nice to me. Oh, you can, like, barely hear it. You can hear the voice acting. That's cool.
わしらとていろいろ対策はしとるんじゃが、どうしたものか。ん？ああ、こちらの話じゃ。
That's Lilia. Mirror. Go to... Not the birthday showcase. Yeah, go to Trine. Featured tenfold summon. Here we go. There's a whole cutscene, which I normally don't let play out, but I will for you. The Dark Mirror. It says, reveal unto me the nature of your soul. And then there's a light, and then you open some coffins. And inside, it's a copy of school uniform Leona King Scholar. You know, from the Great Gotcha World Tour. And in there... Oh! Is it the featured SSR from this banner that I don't care about? It is! It's SSR Moses Train. Authoritative attire. That's the history teacher with his cat. It's fine. It's, like, not that interesting of a piece of art, but it is nice to get something interesting for the final 10. Maybe I accumulated pity, who knows? Oh, and then he says a line. What makes an exceptional mage? Magical affinity? knowledge, experience, refinement, the answer, colon,
品格答え
all of the above.
すべて
Cool. And now we just do a bunch more of these. It's a copy of School Uniform Riddle Rose Hearts. It's a copy of PE Uniform Cater Diamond. You can really see how few cards they have in this game. It's a copy of School Uniform Jamil Viper. This one's new? Yeah, it's PE Uniform Kalim Al-Asim. He's got, like, cool tattoos. I do like it. He's kind of styling in general. And then he says a line. He says, I'll take care of all your troubles. It's a copy of PE Uniform Riddle Rose Hearts. That's new? Okay. It's School Uniform Rook Hunt.
Bonjour. 君は私にどんな世界を見せてくれるんだい?
Now, he does actually speak French when he says bonjour. What world will you whisk me off to today? It's a copy of SR Ceremonial Robes Jack Howell. Kind of a good pull, to be honest. That's new? Yeah, it's Labware Ruggy Bucci. That's actually a cute piece of art. He's got his little tail sticking out.
清潔感とかあんまり気にしないけど、パリッと綺麗な実験着はいいっすよね。
I'm not really a neat freak, but there's something nice about a pure white lab coat. He's kind of a cutie, I just don't really care about him. Okay, there we are. And that's the 10 pull. And now I'll spare you from my really, really loud, or really quiet, it's kind of hard to tell, rendition. Thoughts on the game. I will try to repeat what I said last time, but you have to admit that I feel like my feelings have soured over time. I will just go right into the cake scale, which is, of course, content, addictiveness, Kinsey. As for content, on a scale of 0 to 6, I just, like, this game is so thin. Since the time that I originally recorded these, I've talked to Harry about this game a little bit, and she thinks that the writing in this game is pretty good, and I don't agree. But she says it gets good around book 4, which is like saying that, Supernatural gets good around season 4. Like, I ain't watching all that. And of course my mileage will vary because I'm not as amused by the fact that the boys are mean to you. I just am like, there's so little to it in the prologue and in book 1. And, like, even the actual gameplay, like, anything you can do outside of the main story is, like, either relatively unrewarding rhythm charts. There's like 2 little battle things you can do. One of them is productive and gives you materials, and the other one I'm not sure. Hypothetically, there's events, but I didn't get to play any. And then it's just auto-leveling. So you can play more of the story, which I didn't like. Content is a measure of quality. I just, like, for the amount of game per game, even, if we're not measuring quality, there's, like, there's 2 different games in here, and each of them is about a third of a game. we've got about 2/3 of a game, and I feel like in Disney Twisted-Wonderland, which amounts to about a 1. There's only incidentally content in this game. Addictiveness, I found the fact that I was constantly gated by having to do auto-leveling grinding was actually not appealing to me. And they don't have dailies, they have weeklies, which is, like, less predatory, but that's what we're judging here, so it was hard to get pulls, take it from me. And, like, we're not judging whether or not I was compelled by the story, but I wasn't. And I wasn't compelled by the mechanics, and I wasn't compelled to do dailies, and the refreshable, like, energy refreshes every few hours to full, but you really will rarely need to refresh it, because often it's just overfilled by your leveling. And so, like, there's stuff you can do, I guess, that is only available, like, 5 times a day, but it's, like, 5 times a day. The special lessons you can take 10 times a day, and it's like, what the hell? So I see, like, no, and they're not, like, there just aren't that many interesting pieces of art to get, and so, like, I'm tempted to put addictiveness at a 0. I don't think there's anything that makes me feel like I need to play Disney Twisted-Wonderland other than my job. So 1, 0, and then a Kinsey skill rating, necessarily of 6, because there's nothing heterosexual that happens in this game. Like, I don't even think that this game is, like, even if you ignore that it's an all-boys school and are like, what if the protagonist was female? Nothing straight happens. All the boys are mean to you, which is part of it. But it's just, like, not... These aren't being played for feminine appeal, I feel like. I mean, there's also just a lot of boys in this game that are obviously gay. But, like, not even gay in a straight women love it way. I just feel like this is straight up a game for gay guys. About gay guys. Teenagers, I guess. So, and one 700-year-old demon. So, like, yeah, it's a 106 for me. Overall thoughts, I don't think you should play it. Overall thoughts, I really, don't have a good impression of this game from the time I spent with it, and I resent Harry for making me play it, although Harry does play it, so, I mean, Godspeed to her. But Ivy, who only kind of made me play it, has no idea how bad this game is, and is only learning when I put out this Gone Fishin' episode. So, thanks. I didn't like it. The official Disney licensed Twink game, it wasn't good. I kind of hoped it would be bad in an interesting and fun way, so I could make, like, a good podcast episode about it. And there are some things in here that are, like, comically bad. But mostly I just feel like it's an extremely unappealing experience. With a couple of guys that I do think are cute, but I'm not willing to go through the effort to have in my fictional JPEG library. Such is all I have to say. Thank you for listening to Gone Fishin'. Next Gone Fishin' will be with Ivy, but the next episode you'll hear on the podcast feed is me and Kit talking about Infinity Nikki, which I've already recorded it as of me editing Ash, re-recording this segment. And so I'm excited to put it out, and then I'm very excited to listen to what Ivy has to say about Infinity Nikki, a game which I genuinely love. Not that Harry doesn't love this game, but I think she might be wrong. She's wrong about a lot of things. I've developed a bit where I'm just actively antagonistic to Harry. sort of a one-sided bit. Feels almost mean. But I do it with love. Yeah, I think that's all I had to say. Please enjoy this second installment of, or I hope you enjoyed, I guess. I can't tell you to enjoy it now, you're at the end. I hope you enjoyed this second installment of Unceasing Summer Fun. 2 more weeks until we're back to normal, but please continue listening to the episodes. And hi, if this is your first time here, and you came here because of Disney Twisted-Wonderland, and you haven't left, despite my many comments, congratulations. I'm sorry? Maybe. But this is Soulmates. We're a podcast about the art of gacha games, and the art and character design. We talk about Mahjong Soul, which is the premier English language Mahjong client featuring a blend of cute and appealing anime girls with classical Japanese Mahjong. And, I mean, you need to know about the art of Mahjong Soul. We also do a second season, which is about Limbus Company, which is sort of my bias as a gacha game, but also just as a video game, because I'm a huge Project Moon fan. So if you want to hear us sort of be big nerds about classical literature and also Project Moon and Limbus Company, that's totally for you. And then we have a third season that we do. It's about Arknights and Food Fantasy. It was spawned from the previous summer, where I did Gone Fishin' episodes on both of those games. It's really fun to blend a game that is a very serious gacha game with a game that very few people play or know about. And some of them are mercenaries and some of them are sentient food. It's a weird combination, but it works. And so I hope you will check one or all of those out. Also check out the Great Gacha World Tour episode on this game if you haven't. It's a much more positive view, although the art is still kind of bad. I just think you deserve better if you're a fan of Disney Twisted-Wonderland. And then stick around for all the other stuff we do. Apparently the thing that I should be plugging is the bonus episode for Season 2, Episode 5, in which we just look at pictures of whales and do reviews of pictures of whales. Anyway, I will see you next week. Goodbye.